Ladies and gentlemen, happy Thursday and welcome to a video where I'm going to be going over a list of 10 mistakes, catastrophically awful mistakes, that NFL teams have made and instantly regretted. Honorable mention, Von Miller to the Bills. You're not gonna make it. You probably should have. Anyway, couple of plugs as always, guys. You know the drill. Don't forget to use code WW10 to save yourself a discount on any of Waggle's awesome product. And also don't forget to use code WyattzWorld at sign up on Prize Picks to guarantee yourself to win a free $50 with your first $5 entry. Just a quick reminder that the MLB seasonal prediction windows have opened up, as well as the prediction windows for the NFL Combine. But as always, please remember to play responsibly and let's get into the video. Okay, so starting off this list in really no order, the first mistake I'm going to talk about was the time the Pittsburgh Steelers used a first-round draft pick on Kenny Pickett in the 2022 draft. Now, I'm not saying this pick didn't make sense because at the time it did. Ben Roethlisberger was fresh out of the league. Pittsburgh needed his replacement. They had a shot at any quarterback they wanted out of that draft class, so they took a chance. It's just the problem with that draft class is it sucked. I mean, we're talking Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral, Bailey Zapp, Sam Howell. The only two quarterbacks out of that class that are going to turn into anything. Brock Purdy's already kind of cemented himself, and then Malik Willis is on the up and up. Regardless though, Pittsburgh took their chance on Kenny Pickett, and what they ended up with? One of the most unproductive quarterbacks I think I've ever seen. You want to hear a crazy stat about Kenny Pickett? His first two seasons, he started a total of 24 games. In those games, he had 4,400 yards in 13 touchdowns. He was a check down merchant who couldn't read anything. I know Pittsburgh stuck with him for a couple seasons, but I also know after about 4 games into his career, they knew they fucked up. Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons signing Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million contract. Granted, he's going to be released, and he still made over $100 million from him. This was still one of the worst decisions they could have ever made. Kirk Cousins, like 36, fresh off of an Achilles tear. And they sign him to that deal and then immediately draft a quarterback in the first round right after. Like, it was instant regret. And what was astounding about it all, too, is he legitimately got benched. Like, they benched him. They chose to bench him knowing what they were paying him. Like, they regretted getting him, he regretted going there. And to make matters about this even better is they tampered with him to get him. So in the mix of all this, they ended up losing a draft pick too. Like, what a fucking nightmare. Moving on to the next horrific mistake, and I know we talked about this in yesterday's video, but we have Deshaun Watson going to the Browns for a guaranteed contract of $235 million. I mean, this is one that I believe the Cleveland Browns, or at least some people in that facility, had to have regretted before it even happened. Still so jarring that they agreed to it, and it was even more jarring to see how fucking horrible of a player he was when he came to play for them. Over a span of 3 years with the Browns, he has started 19 games. Throughout those 19 games, he has thrown for just 3,300 yards and 19 touchdowns and 12 picks. So if we do the math here, he's been getting paid roughly $46 million a year to be completely garbage. Deshaun Watson's making more money than Patrick Mahomes and Matt Stafford annually. How the fuck does that make sense? Probably the worst contract in the history of sports. Moving on, we have the 49ers trading 3 first-round picks to get Trey Lance. Sorry, buddy, but this one is completely inevitable on this list. What the fuck? They traded 3 first-round picks to draft a guy who only started 4 games for their franchise. And to make matters worse, not only was the guy extremely injury-prone, but he just wasn't good. I mean, you got to feel for the guy because he had a ton of pressure on him. Of course he did, but that's also part of football, man. You either work out or you don't. Unfortunately, he sank. That sucked because he was a Bison, and I'm a low-key NDSU Bison fan. But if I was the 49ers, honestly, that's something I'd still lose a little bit of sleep over. That you guys gave up damn near your future at the time. And yet you were somehow still okay. Fuck you. Awful decision, though. Moving on to the next mistake / one of the just dumbest decisions I think I've ever seen was the time the Philadelphia Eagles decided to draft Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. There is still no excuse as to why they did this other than the fact that they just wanted to be different. They wanted to be edgy. They wanted to try and find a diamond in the rough even though there was a literal diamond right in front of their fucking faces. But this was a catastrophic mistake and they knew it instantaneously. And we can cover Jalen's NFL career right away. I mean, he only played 2 seasons for the Eagles. 3 total touchdowns. I don't think he even got 600 total yards, and if he did, it wasn't much more. But it appalls me if you go back and look at their college stats. These guys willingly took Jalen Reagor, who his final year in college had 43 receptions for 600 yards and 5 touchdowns, over Justin Jefferson, who was coming off the year with 111 receptions, 1,500 yards, and 18 touchdowns. Like, what the hell? Honestly, what the hell? Bro, I barely watched college football at the time, and I knew who Justin Jefferson was. I didn't even know who Jalen Reagor was. Awful mistake made by Philadelphia. Moving on, we have the time Jacksonville brought in Urban Meyer to be their head coach. That was absolutely fucking horrible. So honestly, this one on paper, I thought it was good. I thought it was going to be a very entertaining run to see happen. And holy shit, this might have been the biggest catastrophe in coaching history. Urban Meyer, one of the greatest college head coaches ever, comes into the NFL, and he just destroyed an entire organization. He didn't even make it out of his first year. He went 2-11 and he got fired. And this guy was an asshole. He was in trouble all the time. He was toxic as hell. He was mean to players. Horrendous decision maker. In trouble off the field. Like, he came into the league thinking that it was just going to be the same thing as college and he was just going to start steamrolling people. And when he started getting his shit rocked, he didn't know how to deal with it. Like, he was the devil. He also kicked a player during practice. Moving on to the next mistake, and sorry Denver fans, but you had to have known that this was coming. We have the time the Denver Broncos gave up 5 picks, 2 of them being first-round picks, 2 of them being second-round picks, as well as 3 players for Russell Wilson, who they immediately signed to a $240 million deal. Now, the thing about this is Russell Wilson only played 2 seasons there, the first one being absolutely egregious, second one being not so bad, but they ditched his ass right out of there. Like, Russ in the Denver Broncos didn't work, and him as a person there I don't think worked either. There was just constant drama of his team being irritated and annoyed with him. Whether it was true, whether it's not, there had to have been some truth to it. You could see on the sidelines, players looked irritated with him constantly. Fans were definitely over and irritated with him. I would say it's a good thing, though, that this contract happened at the same time as the Watson contract, because that took a lot of the steam off of this, even though the Broncos got a lot of shit for it, and obviously they still do. Now moving on, we have the time the Titans decided to ditch A.J. Brown in a trade to the Eagles and then draft Treylon Burks as his replacement. I mean, in 3 years for the Tennessee Titans, Treylon Burks caught for 699 yards and 1 touchdown. Brother, you give A.J. Brown 6 games, and he is beating Treylon Burks' entire career. This was the beginning of the end for the Tennessee Titans. They had a great team. They had really no reason to do this, but they went ahead and did it anyway. You know, there really can't be much of a worse feeling than getting rid of, you know, one of not only your best players, but the league's best players, and then seeing that you get literally nothing out of it. Again, I know that was years ago. That's still something I'd lose sleep over. That would be like paying $500 for a scratch-off ticket and getting nothing. Except in this case, it was a multi-million-dollar scratch-off ticket that they still got nothing from. Next up, we have the Vikings letting go of Sam Darnold last year. I mean, you can call this a mistake, you can call it financially smart, however you want to word it. After seeing J.J. McCarthy's performance and seeing the Vikings quarterback debacle and seeing Justin Jefferson's season and seeing the Vikings season, there is simply no fucking way that the Vikings didn't regret not keeping Sam Darnold. I get it, you know, you had a young quarterback, you had to try and roll with him or do something with him, but letting a quarterback walk who just put up a great season and then watching him go on to win a Super Bowl, that sucks. That sucks a fat one. And really, if you think about it, to make matters worse, like going into this offseason, the Vikings could be just chilling with the quarterback right now. Just chilling and comfortable. That's not an issue, but instead, it's their #1 issue. They have to make a decision. Either try and find a new quarterback or try and stick with J.J. McCarthy and fix this absolute mess of a player that he has been throughout his first season. And moving on to what I would believe is one of the biggest regrets in the league right now was the time the Tennessee Titans decided they needed to fire Mike Vrabel after destroying their own fucking team and then blaming him when he couldn't do anything with it anymore. Honestly, the fact that he still clawed out 6 wins that last year with them was pretty damn impressive. When the Titans were actually functional and they had a squad, Mike Vrabel won division titles for him. He brought him to an AFC championship game. And like I said, the trade of A.J. Brown was the beginning of the end. Team stopped winning, they went downhill, and they got rid of Vrabel, which clearly was not the correct move considering that the last 2 seasons, their win total matches Vrabel's last season with them. Not to mention they also hired Brian Callahan, who was a dogshit head coach, but also Mike Vrabel came back just 2 years after being let go and made the fucking Super Bowl with the Patriots, who the year before only had like 4 wins. What a bunch of dumbasses. One of the most idiotic moves I've ever seen, and I hope that this is something that eats at them every single day. And that is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for 10 times I think an NFL team instantly regretted their decision. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and feel free to let me know in the comments of some more times that teams regretted what they did that I left off. As always, if you guys had fun with this video, please show support because you know I appreciate it, but in the meantime, I'm going to hop off and get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, I will see you in the next upload.